Found out my pregnant wife, 25 female, is my 24 male biological half sister. Biological father has no involvement in our lives. My wife, 25 female, and I, 24 male, have recently discovered that we share the same dad. We have been together for 8 years and married earlier this year. We own our own home and we are expecting our first child in March 2020. Our biological father is still alive, but we don't want anything to do with him because of this and because he was a crappy person. From what I understand, my father, who is persona non grata in both households, did not remain in our mother's lives for long. And while I knew a brief bit of info about him, my partner did not, as he was an all-around crappy person. Neither of our mums named him on the birth certificate as the father, and in my wife's case she knew her mum's long-term boyfriend as a father, while I gained a stepdad. Our parents do not know this and we aren't even sure if we should say anything. I will not disclose how we found out, but I suppose I just wanted a bit of closure, and her mum, who is one of my close friends, admitted to me at a rough moment that her daughter's dad was ex and how he was a chatterer, and this combined with other info made it clear. We have had a private DNA test taken and the results suggested we were half siblings. Despite this, our feelings for each other have not changed and we do not want to split. We have known each other since starting school and been through some hard times together. I'm afraid what this means for us and our child, if that means he will have any health complications in life. My wife doesn't believe in deliberate miscarriage personally and does not wish to terminate her first pregnancy, nor do I want her to, so we mean to see it through and hope for the best. We are lucky in that we don't have a history of illness in our mum's families, at least, so hopefully that is better luck than some. I know electoral love it is against the law, and I'm terrified that we could be found out if anyone looked into our histories, or if I heard they do this, take a DNA sample of our son for genetic testing to make sure he has no health problems, and what could happen to us. I'm not even sure what to do, except maybe ensure that we do not have more biological children, even if our child turns out without a problem, just to be safe, and adopt or something instead. I don't want anyone to find out, so I'm keeping info to minimum, and I will not let anything separate us, and neither will she. What could happen to us? What should we do? Should I just conceal it? I'm in England. Please see a genetic counselor. They have seen and dealt with this situation many times before and can provide advice and guidance without judgment. Also important to know, a genetic counselor will not report you to the police. It is safe and important to talk to one. I was hoping someone would point them to an LGC. Exactly that they are there for. They can explain the risks and determine testing needed. Thank you. Conceal it. If it ever comes out, you didn't know. The odds of your baby having problems are probably a little higher than normal, but more than likely it will be fine. Have your baby. Love your wife. Live your life. Sometimes this world is weird. Exactly. Take this knowledge out back, dispatch it quickly, dig a deep hole and conceal it. Go forth and love the family that you have become and will remain. I mean, marriage to close family members is generally banned because of the high likelihood of genetic defects. You can run all the tests in the world, but this isn't the fault of either one of you. You were just two people who fell in love. I say just conceal it and not tell anyone about this. However, I would strongly discourage you two from having more children together. Even if this baby comes out healthy, don't risk it. Just adopt a child or pursue another route if you both choose to. You were just two people who fell in love. I forget what the phenomena is called, but people who are closely related but do not grow up together are more likely to be attracted to each other later in life. Growing up with a relative normally is enough for your brain to go, "Ooh, gross," but if you don't have that period together, then that part of your brain just doesn't activate. Edit genetic sexual attraction, and part of the reason is because the Westermark effect doesn't activate. I went to school with a girl whose parents were first cousins and didn't find out till they were married. I'm not suggesting they have more biological kids, but they should share the same amount of DNA as first cousins. Cousin marriage is common, and although the risks are somewhat higher, they are not as high as many people on this thread are implying. Does anyone have evidence their risk is higher? Risk doesn't usually become huge unless it's several generations of family intermarrying. or paternal/daughter or maternal/son electoral love cases. Those are high risk. I agree with you/Kai_lawyer. The situation is terrible, but you'll probably be okay. I'd still see a genetic counselor, however, just to get expert advice instead of Reddit advice. I agree with everything you've said. If you both still love each other, stay together. If you want to keep the child, keep the child. Try not to have any other children. Don't tell anyone about this. I'm not a legal expert in UK law, but considering neither of you had any idea you were related prior to getting married, I think it would be highly unlikely the state would choose to prosecute this in the unlikely scenario that it was even found out. But their marriage could be made invalid since they're siblings, and I doubt they'll be able to adopt any more children together. They do prosecute for it here actually, UK. I used to work in criminal defense. I personally never had one of these types of cases, but someone I knew who did a similar job, more experienced/higher job role, had. It was always a no comment situation, because you can be imprisoned for it. However, in this situation probably for a shorter space of time. Sorry OP, but it's all about intent and knowledge, and although there was none at the time, continuing the relationship and choosing to have a child now with full knowledge would mean you are clearly now breaking the law. As for doctor-patient confidentiality, they can report a situation like this, especially if you are planning on having a child together. They didn't conceive the baby with intent or knowledge, and since there's no law or judge that would require you to get in deliberate miscarriage, that fact wouldn't matter, that they didn't terminate the pregnancy. No, they didn't. You are right. At first. But the fact is, after they knew, they continued the relationship. That is where the law is broken. And that is how it would be seen. They wouldn't be penalized in the first case, but continuing knowing the full facts is electoral love. No pressure would be put on to terminate, no. By as I said, the fact that they have continued with full knowledge after they found out they are related is the issue. If they had got together, it had all come out, but they said well we didn't know, and it was over, then no prosecution I would think. No judge would consider any case against them. It is the fact they are continuing after they knew. So it would be argued that now at the current point they are knowingly continuing an electoral love relationship. As for the doctor-patient thing, it wouldn't be to pressurize for a deliberate miscarriage, it would be just to say the law has been broken, which they can do. I had therapy a while ago and wanted to make some disclosures about a mistreatment situation I had been in. I had been in a cruel relationship, but I couldn't detail to him. He got advice from his higher up and said if concerned, they would have to breach it unfortunately, to protect people from being in situations where the law has been broken. By the way, it's under Sexual Offences Act 2003, so yes, it is illegal, I assure you. It seems that they could legally marry in Sweden, Denmark and some other countries. I wonder if they would qualify for refugee status if they faced prosecution in their home country. I have not studied or practiced that area of law, so very limited knowledge. Defense was my area for 10 years. I would think however that no, a criminal prosecution would not be grounds to become a refugee. Here the law is being broken, and if another country allowed them to effectively run away and get away with it, I'm pretty certain that wouldn't be treated well. Is the SEs weirder now that you found out your siblings? There was an episode of House MD where two young adults found out they were half siblings because they both came down with the same rare illness. The man wanted to continue the relationship, but his wife was 1000% weirded out by it and left him. No, my wife and I felt no different afterwards, just strengthened our confidence in each other. Moved to Alabama. No one will say a word about it. Roll Tide. LMAO. Worldwide comments of the day. Is pathetic the right word? Weak? Pitiable? Pitiful? Emasculated? Foolish? Creative writing either perfectly mirrors true life or it doesn't. Hers clearly does. NTA, and I suggest you look into getting the kids to the grandparents as well as you trying to set up time for a lawyer. Apart from the obvious successful attempts at gaslighting, the evidence he has found can't be denied. You need to think, and I do mean think, about the series of coincidences that you found, the diary, the rubber apples, the cologne smelling towels, and make the decision on if she's worth it for the marriage now. At first I thought it odd that she wrote about the infidelity and using their lives, but a reaction to him confronting her about it and then the rubber could be inconsequential. But when all of that is put together with the towels that smell of other men's cologne, and when he took the kids out of town, then I'd say he is NTA, and she's a cheater. Also, she is cruel and manipulative. He needs to get a lawyer and take that book as evidence and get a PI. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and relatable Reddit videos.